The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Are you ready to dumb it down? That's so great. You guys, in the midst of crisis, in the midst of the world just falling apart with this coronavirus, you guys show up. I hit the buttons, you respond promptly. I mean, AI or not, you guys are on it. Thank you so much for showing up to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. I am Dave Canyon. I am your one and only solo podcast host, and I am your pragmatic podcaster, and you are listening, I got to get it all in, and you are listening to the fastest podcast on earth, as it is March 14th, 9:48 a.m., nice and early. I love it on a Saturday. I'm headed home, and I'm headed home to my town via the New York State Thruway, which is also called Interstate 87, I-87. You can look it up in the map. If you want to play along at home, go to Google Maps and punch in Walmart, Rensselaer, New York. And I just left there. I got my free milk, which I don't drink. I give it to a friend of mine who has kids and dogs and whatever. So I give it to her. Let her have it. I love giving away milk. I love giving away free milk. By the way, if you go to the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, I'd love you to do that and participate. For those of you who aren't on Spreaker, or even if you are on Spreaker, if you don't comment in the Spreaker box here on Spreaker, you're listening to me on one of the other 27 or 28, possibly even 29 now. I just signed up with some podcast platform out of India. What was it called? Hub Spotter or something? I don't know. I just stumbled on it. I go, wait a minute, what's this? Hub Spotter. So I signed up. It turns out, of course, my podcast is already there because they get the Bing or the ping or whatever they call it from Apple Podcasts, I guess. I don't know. And there it is, all my 200 and some odd episodes. And apparently they are India's, INDIA, India's leading, podcast platform. So I hope to get a lot of, if anybody knows anybody that lives in India, and by the way, the internet's really confusing to me, and I hope we circle back to all the things that I've been touching on. But the internet's really confusing to me because I don't understand why, if you're in India, I don't know why you need to have, HubSpotter or whatever it is that I signed up for when you can have Spreaker or you can have Apple. So I'm confused as to what's global and what's not global. But there are a lot of Indian podcasts on HubSpotter or HubBlotter or whatever. So I get that. I get why there'd be a lot of Indian podcasts, but I'm on it. So, and I'm not Indian in any shape or form. So, all right, so let's backtrack a little bit. March 14th, it is, what's the weather like? There's a decent amount of clouds, but I'm looking to my left, which is to the southeast, and I see sun. And the weather has definitely been warming up. We are past the February thaw. We are in that March transition, heading into spring. I think March 21st is the actual first day of spring. We've already turned the clock. I love that. We've turned the clock. And the only thing that's really screwing up everything right now is the coronavirus. Are we going to talk about that today? Well, I already have mentioned it. I don't think we're going to talk about it much. I have other things I want to talk about, so maybe we'll get to it. There really is no lead story today. I just want to talk about some previous episodes that I've just recently done and touch base on that. And then before you know it, 30 minutes will be up, and we will be good to go. So let's see if I can do this without screwing everything up. Boy, I have a feeling I am going to screw it up. Okay. No, it's not going to screw it up. Okay. So let's go to here. Oh, no. Let's see. Okay, good. That didn't screw it up. Okay. So let's just go through some episodes here. Episode 201, number 201, I couldn't be more tired. And then there was episode 202, I do my job full time so you can do yours full time. I like that title. Episode was it 203 now I'm up to? I forgot already. I'm doing it right in front of you. I already forgot. Chinese food for dinner? Really? All right, so that's kind of like the beginning of the coronavirus thing. And then episode 204, I think this is where everything starts going downhill maybe. If I had $500 million, where I start to talk about Mayor Dumberg, all right? And then, of course, the last 2 episodes, which I almost didn't publish. The Manchurian Child Part 1, based on the title, The Manchurian Candidate. I think the Manchurian is actual fruit or vegetable or something like that. But anyway, and the movie, of course, with Frank Sinatra. And then they remade the movie with the guy who plays Ray Donovan and Denzel Washington. And then Growing Up, A Manchurian Child Part 2. So let me tell you about Part 1 and Part 2. Real quickly, I just want to say thank you to Gail Nobles. Gail Nobles for giving me the courage to publish it. I mean, I might be giving her too much credit, but let me just say this. I really was so, you guys know me by now. I was so exhausted, so exhausted. And I was so upset by my father's behavior last week. It was a week ago today that I published, I recorded those episodes. But I was so upset with my father. And to this very day, a week later, when I think about it, the emotions come back. Because it's not just one thing. It's 56 years of my father just really, not being daddy, not being pop, not being, my backbone, not being my rock that I could lean on. I mean, absolutely. For those of you who have a parent that you've leaned on, like, yeah, man, that's my dad. Yeah, man, that's my mom. Yeah, man, that's my uncle. Yeah, man, that's my cousin. I'm 0 for 20. I should make a list of all my relatives. I'm 0 for everybody. Once upon a time, I had a great uncle. And then I got older. He got married. And then he had his own kids. So what did he need me for? I'm sure he got a little annoyed, like, hey, you know what? It was fun sort of taking care of you when I wasn't married and I was just dating your aunt, And then, then I married her and then I had my own kids. And you started to become a pain in the butt with all your issues and all your questions that you needed leadership. And I just couldn't give it to you. So he bailed. My father's father bailed a long time ago. I mean, whatever. Not the greatest grandfather. Neither one of them. No great uncles. Really, zippity doodah. Zippity not yay. Zippity boo. Wham. So, imagine that life. So I'm curious if you guys want to chat in the Spreaker box, or you can, by the way, I'm on Discord now. You could chat in the Spreaker box. That's what I was getting to before. Where is the other place you could, the Facebook group. Right, that's what I wanted to do. Go to the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, not the Facebook page. And by the way, if I remember, I just took a picture of a big, a big plastic cow or something in the Walmart. This other company called King Dairy, King Dairy, D-A-I-R-Y, Dairy, King Dairy. I know it's dairy, but when I look at it, I go, that's dairy. Dairy. Anyway, I'm curious how the dictionary actually pronounces that, how they actually spell that out, how they enunciate it out. But anyway, it's dairy, I know that. So, but AI is I, right? Like neighbor, oh, that's EI. So if it was D-I-R-Y, that'd be dairy. Okay, so it's dairy, whatever. And like air, A-I-R, air, I get it. All right, so, but when I look at it, I think it's dairy. So King Dairy has a cow on a trailer. I took some pictures of it. If I remember, I'm going to post it to the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. You can take a look at that. Some guerrilla marketing there, having a big giant cow in the middle of the parking lot at Walmart in Rensselaer. I hope they take over the world for all I care. King Dairy. Where do they come from? King Dairy. I don't know. Anyway, I just gave them a couple of nice plugs there. So definitely comment. I really want to activate or energize the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. Some of you are not on Facebook. Some of you are on Facebook. Some of you are not. Some of you are on Twitter. Some of you are not. I don't know who's on Instagram, but you know what? I'll also try to activate my Instagram a little bit. I mean, energize it. They're all up. Twitter's up. So maybe my assistant, Twitter's up, Instagram is up, Facebook is up, and so maybe my assistant will help me a little bit more. Remind me, and we'll post these pictures that I talk about, and let's get a better conversation going in the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. For those of you who don't comment here on the Spreaker chat, the Spreaker boxes, and I am working on something called Speak Pipe, which I was supposed to have installed 2 weeks ago. But boy, my brain, the way it works, I run right into a roadblock, and I just sit there, and I park on the side of the road. It is such a mental block I have. I'm a moron. You know, a lot of people say, Dave, you're really not nice to people. You say these horrible things. You call them a moron. You call them the R word. Spread the word to stop the word. That word. You're not supposed to say it. Mentally challenged in a not so politically correct way. Back in the day, it didn't mean something. You grew up in Brooklyn, and you just said, hey, retard. That's what you would do. What are you, retarded? That was Brooklyn. That was East 80th Street and Paddington 5. That's what you said to each other. Hey, what are you, a retard? What are you, retarded? That's what you would say. But now, oh my God, forget about it. And I got to tell you, I know I'm not that bright. And if I was, in fact, if you look up the definition, of course, to retard, to slow down, but I know how it's perceived. I'm not insensitive. I don't go around saying it. I'm just telling you the story that once upon a time, growing up in Brooklyn, it wasn't out of the norm that we would say these things. And you know what? No, I can't say nobody's feelings were hurt, but our feelings were hurt all the time. If you weren't a retard, you were a Nimrod. If you weren't a Nimrod, you were a dillweed. And if you weren't a dillweed, you were another DI, whatever word, or you were an a-hole, or you were a flat lever, you were a user. You know what? Here's a nice little Spreaker box, Spreaker chat, or Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook thing or whatever, or maybe even Instagram or Twitter. What was your favorite, neighborhood, childhood thing that you would call somebody? Nimrod, dillweed. No, dillweed's an actual spice. It was the other DI word. What's interesting about podcasting? That if I say the words, I have to mark the podcast explicit. But if you type the word, I don't think it's explicit. If you just type it in the show notes, or if I type it in the Spreaker box, I don't think that makes it explicit. You know what? I don't know what the rules are. Anyway, so there's all that. So I did not like my two podcasts, whatever it is, 204, 205, whatever it is. Growing Up, a Manchurian Child Part 2, and then the Manchurian Child Part 1. But I didn't like the sound at the beginning with the intro, and then at the end, everything was all wacky. And then, by the way, again, I tried to edit one of those episodes. They both say 30 minutes and 1 second, 30 minutes and 2 seconds. I don't know how that's even possible. But there was an episode here, I don't know what's going on, that I tried to edit. And I've talked about how paranoid I am using the Spreaker recording studio app editing bay. And I tried to delete 7 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever because I went over one of these episodes. I think the one that's 30 minutes and 2 seconds. And it won't let you precisely cut at that moment. You gotta, I don't know what the rules are. I haven't took the time to play with it. But I ended up deleting, and I went all the way back to 29:53 or 29:55. And it's funny because I listened to it, and I go, a couple of times at the end, I go, all right. It was really abrupt at the ending, the going for a drive ending. And by the way, I just want to thank Alex Exum at the top of the show. He's the one that the voice you hear that goes, "Here's Dave." Alex Exum, alexexum.com. But Hal and Philly gave me that "Going for a Drive" outro song, and it really cut it real sharp. So my editing was horrible. And what was really scary about that episode, as exhausted as I was so upset at the sound being horrible, and I was so upset at the editing and all that stuff. I didn't know in the moment that I'm editing, this is really scary, but I did it anyway, and that's a real risky thing I did. I didn't know if I was taking a 30-minute and 2-second podcast, recording, file, whatever you want to call it. I didn't know if I was deleting the last 7 seconds or the first 29 minutes and 53 seconds. It was really hard to tell, because the way they prompt you, for a dummy like me, I had no idea what was going on. So, anyway, I did it. I took a chance. I said, you know what? I'm going to be so upset if I delete this episode. And there's no way to duplicate it, and just in case you mess up, which would really be nice if Spreaker's listening. It would really be nice if you could just duplicate it just to protect yourself. Because, I don't know. But here's what I got to do. I got to do a practice video podcast where I just count to 10, or I do the ABCs. I do like a 20-second, 30-second, whatever, a regular couple-minute podcast, and just try editing. Just this way, I don't care. Just create a virtual show, a virtual playground where I can make a mistake and nobody cares, nobody notices. Nothing's going to get published and all that stuff. I got to learn this editing thing. But then again, that being said, I got to learn how to edit off of Spreaker. I got this box of equipment in my house. I still haven't opened it up. Anyway, so I think I touched on everything. Walmart, King Dairy, March 14th, whatever. Now it's 10:02. I had my week off, by the way. For those of you who are curious, I had a week off, really like 3 days off, but they wouldn't let me work my day off in between, so I kind of consider it a 4-day suspension, not a 3-day suspension. Whatever, who cares? And I got to tell you, I learned something really fantastic. I learned something really, 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 really fantastic this week, and I'm really, 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 really happy about it. And it never occurred to me on any of my previous vacations. This April, I will be at my job for 7 years. And this week, something kind of cool happened during my 3-day suspension or 4-day suspension. Oh boy, how's the sound? I got a little nervous. I think this thing was sitting on my zipper. Oh boy, I'm going to be upset if this sounds like horrible. Sounds like hell. Anyway, my apologies if there was a problem with the sound. You know what? I should stop yelling. I learned that when I do transition, if this was the week where I transitioned to life, and I came home and I immediately was up during the day and asleep at night, guess what? It takes one day, not even a day, for me to get used to not working at night and being asleep at night and being up during the day. I mean, I went to sleep like 8, 9 o'clock on certain nights, and then I wake up like 4:30 in the morning. But you know what? If that's what my body wants to do, that's what my body wants to do. And with my wife laying there in bed and she doesn't have to get up for another 2 hours, if I had my shed, I can go to the shed and start working on my stuff. If once my gym in my garage is all completed, I can go to the gym. If the sun is, I don't know what time is the earliest of sunrise, but if I can go out and enjoy some outdoor activity, get a jump on things, I wouldn't mind if that was my schedule. Every day I'm up at 4:30 and I'm asleep at 8:30. That's not bad. 8:30 to 4:30, that's 8 hours. That's not bad. Probably get up in the middle of the night to take a leak, and then have a drink of water, brush my teeth a little bit, because, boy, my mouth is, lately. It's like every time I wake up, terrible. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of worse. And I'm taking care of my mouth more and more, but I don't know. Something's up, man. I'm probably going to have bad news for you one of these days. All right, so I learned that. I'm very happy about the fact that transitioning from nighttime to daytime probably will not take that long. Probably take a day or less. So I'm excited about that. Every other vacation I've ever taken, I've never been suspended before. Not for 3 days. I think for 1 day. But I've never had a chance to really, experience this. So this was great. 2 seconds, I was ready to flip the switch and go to days. Okay, so there's that. And I want to talk to you real quickly about these Manchurian Child shows. It took me 2 episodes to talk about something I should have gotten done in 15 minutes. I'm not going to go through the whole money thing, but let me just make it perfectly clear what my points were, what my points of view were. All right, just in case because I listened to them both, and God, they're horrible. I think they're both really horrible podcasts, and I feel like, geez, if anybody really important was going to listen, those were the 2 horrible. At this stage of my career, whatever. They should be better. But I was so exhausted. You guys know how it works. So let me make this perfectly clear. If I had $500 million, my wife and I have talked about this. We would drive around the country. We probably would already have pre-selected a lot of locations. We probably would hire a college graduate or somebody in an office that we would pay for and start figuring out. And we could start from the tip of Maine and work our way down to Florida and then go across, zigzag across the country. We probably would make a whole life of driving around in a Winnebago or something like that. And we would just go around to boys and girls clubs, whatever, civic associations. I don't know exactly how we would do it, but I think it would be great to use, I'm not going to pronounce this right, so if you want to correct me, go ahead, correct me in the Spreaker box, to use philanthropy, not philanthropy, right? philanthropy, whatever. Philanthropic. See, philanthropic sounds like a suntan oil, right? Philanthropic tan. Anyway, so we would use that as a tool for travel. In other words, why are we traveling? We're traveling around the country just to have fun? No, we're going around the country to distribute $450 million. If I had $500 million, I'd be driving around the country going, oh, wow, look at this basketball court. This neighborhood probably needs a better one. Let's go find the founding fathers. Well, let's go to town hall. Hey, what's this house here? This house is horrible. Did somebody have a fire? Just kind of like sort of do that show with Michael Landon, Highway to Heaven. Oh, my God, that would be fantastic. To be a live highway for heaven, where you just go around the country and you fix things. You give people money, or you fund something, or you create challenges, or whatever you do. Just make it that everywhere you go, you leave with a positive impact. $450 million? I mean, I think we'd have to hire people to be us, because we couldn't be us all the time. We'd have to be us on the East Coast, and we have to hire an us on the West Coast. We probably would have to split the country into 4 regions and have 3 other teams of us. And everybody just drive around in circles or whatever, or some sort of specific route, and find all these kids, children's organizations, or these daycares that are underfunded, or families. You see a family on the side of the road with a broken down station wagon. You go over and you say, hey, I'm going to call a tow truck. I'm going to fix this car, get you on the road, and then, find out who these people are, and let's upgrade their car. That stupid show, not stupid show, but what was that? Extreme Makeover? House Makeover? Whatever that was. Ty? What was that guy's name? Ty? Get that guy and help us say, hey, Ty, we need you to spearhead, to whatever, be the project manager, and maybe we'll do a TV show about it. But then again, I don't really want to. I wouldn't want all that publicity, but you know what I'm saying? But it would give it legitimacy. Like when I show up, or my wife shows up, is it better that we show up undercover and like, we're just a couple driving around, or is it better that, hey, these people are legitimate, because we're not like that. What is that? Publishers Clearinghouse? Does anybody know? Is that real? I don't understand how that even works. Publishers Clearinghouse. Where do they get millions of dollars? From what? From a magazine subscription? Who subscribes to magazines anymore? I've never understood that. And now Steve Harvey, of course, is the spokesperson in the commercials. He's really going to show up at somebody's house and give them a big cardboard check. I got to tell you, there's something very fishy about that Publishers Clearinghouse. I really wish I knew the truth about that. Do you know the truth? If you know the truth about the Publishers Clearinghouse, please put it in the Spreaker box, or go to the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, and let's talk about it. How do I look that up? Like, what's the legitimacy of the Publishers Clearinghouse? But anyway, so what prompted me to do these shows, other than my father behaving really poorly, to me, I think he behaved poorly. None of you really commented. Maybe one of you did. But, I really think he's wrong. And by the way, how fascinating is it that after this phone call, I don't know if I mentioned this already in this episode, they banned my father from the nursing home. Nobody is allowed to visit my mother's nursing home. Not just my father, but the other 400 and some odd patients, I was told, because I had to call the social worker for my father. Say, hey, my mother's deaf. My father's deaf. He's been at her bedside every day for the last year and a half. Now all of a sudden, boom, he can't come and visit his wife? What, are you crazy? She's all alone. She's deaf and all alone. She's not just like an all alone patient. She's already was alone, and now she's super alone. Ugh. Anyway, so they said, well, there's nothing we could do. This is by the Department of Health, DOH. These are the rules. This is coming up. By the way, I'm southbound on the New York State Thruway. I'm outside the New Baltimore Rest area, which is like the 127 mile marker. Oh my God, the sun just came out like full time. And of course, and I'm in the Kia. I forgot to mention, I'm in the Kia. We'll do a mileage break. I'm in the Kia, and the sun is coming out, and it's already heating this thing up like old times. It's like, oh my God, it's like a greenhouse. So you know what we'll do? Here's what we're going to do.
Perhaps our listeners would like to join Dave in a drink break?
Yes.
What kind of drink?
Water.
Tea? Coffee?
Water.
Fruit juice?
Water.
Anything they would like.
Water.
Harry.
Just not water,
Oh,
Emma.
Harry.
I have bad luck with that.
All right, thank you, Linda, for supplying the show as long as she has with AI voices like Harry and Emma. Everybody loves Harry and Emma. And, Harry's a bit of a pain, but I like Emma. Much AI love to the AI group. Thank you, Linda. Awesome Insanity Surfers. She's doing Crash Dystopia, that she's telling a story, and I'm enjoying it. Probably, and the number one supporter of the show, always been there from day one, from episode 1. Thank you very much, Linda. And by the way, Linda had reported the other day on the internet that there's 2 reportings of coronavirus. I think in her state or her county. So even in Idaho, they got the corona in Idaho. So what was I talking about? Yeah. So the Bloomberg thing. I don't know. I talk about the weather, the sunshine. It doesn't matter. If I forgot, I'm sorry. I apologize. But because I think I took a drink break. You know what? If there's something you really want me to finish up, mention it in the Spreaker box or go in the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group and say, hey, Dave, you took a drink break. Right before the drink break, you were getting to something important, and then you forgot what you were talking about. So it just really bothers me that he spent all that money. In fact, I think lately the update was way more than $500 million. Like it was $1.1 billion, I thought I saw. Like the media environment, whatever, people who involved in the media, they benefited from all that. They super benefited from all that because he bought a lot of ads, radio ads, TV ads, probably billboards, print, whatever. So he contributed to the nation's economy, which is only going to help Donald Trump, President Trump. So, Mike, I think that you really blew this. You super blew this because, you made a late run. You didn't really think it out. You didn't plan it out. You had a horrible, debate. And also, you spent all that money and you didn't win. You're not going to the convention. Nothing. You went home. You probably won't even be vice president. You probably won't get a cabinet position. Nothing. I can't. I'm having a hard time really admiring you and respecting you for the effort that you gave because here's my deal. So, by the way, I didn't mention this in those 2 episodes. So let's say you're becoming wealthy. You start a company like Mayor Dumberg. What are we doing here, folks? And let's say you make $10 million. You're like, oh, I just made $10 million. And then a couple of months later, you go, oh my God, I got $20 million. And then a year later, you're like, oh my God, my company's worth $40-50 million. And then 2 years later, oh, my company's worth $200 million. And then a couple of years later, before you know it, you're a billionaire. You're being written up in Forbes and all these magazines, and you're a mogul. You're a media mogul, and you are being referred to as a billionaire. Don't you start at some point going, wait a minute here, this is a lot of money. I either got to charge less for my services because I'm obviously making way too much money. And by the way, I love capitalism. I love profit. I don't like greed. But I don't have anything against Michael Bloomberg making that money. But wouldn't you I think I should start helping people. And I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he wasn't philanthropical or whatever that word is. Charitable. That's better. Oh, that's easier. Yeah, charitable. It's just that, hey, come on. By the time you get to $500 million, you got to say, wait a minute, I got to start, you know what? I think I'm going to go find myself a Santa, a real Santa, and have him drive around, like not in a sleigh thing, a reindeer sleigh thing. Yeah, I'll get him a Hummer. Yeah, we'll burn a lot of fuel. That'll be great for the economy. And we'll buy a Hummer. How much is a Hummer these days? 10 years ago, it would have been a lot of money. And we'll just stuff the back of the Hummer, and maybe he'll pull a cargo trailer, and I'll get the Santa. I'll give him a job. He'll really be Santa. You got $500 million to spend? You didn't get the job, but give this other guy a job. Let him be Santa. And Toys R Us probably would have stayed in business. Why didn't he invest in Toys R Us? Toys R Us, Santa, go around the country distributing gifts. I mean, he's going to be late for a lot of kids, and it'll be early for a lot of other kids. But still, it's just, you could have done a lot with $500 million. And it irks me to this very day. All right, I had other things to talk about, but I never got to it because I really did what I had to do. But I'm glad. You know what? I needed this episode. I needed good sound. I needed to record it on the way home. It's Saturday, and I'm all good. All right, guys. I got to remember the HEs. It's been so long since I did it myself. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed, and great skills. I think I did it. All right, and I did it 10 seconds early. Thanks, guys, for supporting the show. Don't forget Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're everywhere. Dumbing It Down with Dave. Go to the website, dumbingitdownwithdave.com and davecanyon.com. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next episode. Bye.